We're gonna do a news video today. Now, I also want to reveal that I found, and this is where hockey card collecting is kind of interesting. I remember when Top Stadium cards came out in 1991, and they were expensive. They were considered to be higher end. Now you can get two boxes for $20, and I got two boxes of the old score. These are American. If I pull a Bobby Orr out of this, that'll be awesome. Yes, I will do unboxings. I have two boxes of both because why not? And now that I've got those boxes, that seller on eBay, which is in Canada, one thing I'm trying to do with eBay right now, I'm trying to make sure I'm buying from Canadian sellers. So that is one thing, that in this time, the everything we're going through. For instance, when I decided, the kids are bored, they haven't been out of the house in 3 weeks, they're starting to lose their minds. We're having what Yvonne's calling quarantine a ween every day, which is dress up like it's Halloween at home. Uh, Yesterday, Yvonne was sporting the onesie I bought her that's a narwhal. So she was the narwhal for most of the day, except during the live stream because I told her, I said, you need to be the narwhal. We need some positivity right now. She said, no, I'm not going to be the narwhal for the live stream. So we're all looking for some kind of a positive something. So again, I'm doing my best that if I buy something on eBay, I want it to be from somebody in Canada, or I'm helping out because I don't know. Some people I think are selling off. For instance, the Wii, we got a really good deal on it, and I noticed the price had dropped $50 in what they were looking for over 2 days since I'd first looked at it. And Yvonne said, this might be desperate. They might really desperately need money right now. And I said, yeah. So we're all kind of, dealing with this as a community and as individuals and, trying to come together with all this. And so I wanted to start the video about that because, we are all dealing with this together. Now, hockey news. There's still hockey news to be had. Hobey Baker finalists were announced today. Scott Perunovich, he's a defenseman, Minnesota Duluth, St. Louis Blues draft pick, 2018, number 45 pick. Pretty good chance of making it. Now I'm going to skip number 2 and go to number 3. Jeremy Swayman, goaltender, out of Maine, Boston Bruins draft pick in 2017, number 111 pick overall. The one in the middle is the one that I find really, really interesting. So Jordan Kawaguchi, forward, playing for North Dakota. Now, he was formerly of the Chilliwack Chiefs, and he was born here in Abbotsford. So, he born locally and played locally before going to North Dakota. I'm obviously pulling for this kid to have a nice NHL job. Now, what's great about this is that there's an article on him deciding to go back for his senior year. He will return to North Dakota for one more year to finish things out. In order to make up his mind on that, he called Drake Kajula and asked for his advice. And Drake told him, yeah, get your degree. And that is really, in all honesty, a great move. There are definitely benefits to going to the NHL and making your money sooner. But if you get your degree in university, it means that when your NHL career is over, if it's a short one, for whatever reason, you've got that degree. So you've got something you can fall back on. And there are numerous times where people will say, I'm gonna go back and finish later, and then they don't. So I absolutely respect that this is a player who could have turned pro, could have got an NHL contract for next year, and said, no, I'm going to go back. And that he sought advice, and that he thought, I'm going to seek advice from Drake Kajula, a player that did the same thing. He went back for his senior year rather than going to an NHL job. So the winner of the award will be announced April 11th. As a Bruins fan, I could say I want Swayman to get it, but as somebody from Abbotsford, yeah, I want Kawaguchi to get it, because sure. And then it makes it easier for him next year. Hobey Baker winner makes it easier for him next year to get a job. Not that he's going to have a problem finding a contract in all likelihood. But that's smart. That's some smart actions taken there. I always respect when a player either decides, yeah, I can play in the minors because I'm not quite ready for the NHL and admits that. Or in this case where somebody goes, yeah, I could probably play in the NHL, but my education's really important too. So, yeah, smart move for him. Also, because we're not seeing hockey being played right now, this was news on TSN, so I thought, yeah, I could talk about that. Gretzky saying he has no doubt that McDavid will win a cup. He's just too good not to. Now, that's where things get kind of tricky. Is he too good to not win a cup with the Oilers, or could it be like that's the thing, right? Saying he's too good not to means that by the end of his career, but will he do it with Edmonton? And there have been plenty of really good players who haven't won a Stanley Cup. There have been some really great players who didn't win a Stanley Cup because it's a team sport. So it's going to be interesting to see how things work with the Oilers. But again, it felt like they were on an upswing. It felt like they were doing quite well this season, and the break I think hurts them. They had an interview as well with Alex Chason. Chason said, we need to do our part as in the community and make sure that we're being safe and we're making sure other people are safe. I absolutely agree with that. I was hearing yesterday Chris Cuomo talking about what he's going through. He has it, and talking about what he's going through overnight, and he said, this is not just the flu. This is bad. This is awful. So there are people that now, globally we're finding out just how rough this is. So Chason saying we need to do the right thing, and I've never said we don't. Also saying, he would like to see how this turns out. Hockey players are saying the same thing I've been saying. Basically that, all this hockey got played. It would be nice to see who ends up winning it. We totally understand if it doesn't happen. But it'd be kind of nice to see who's the best team right now. Because if not, we will have that debate forever. It'll be 2004, 2005, but different in that we had no season for 2004, 2005, so it was okay. But yeah. Now, I wanted to talk about this. I know there's a lot of people who watch this channel that are parents. I know there are kids that watch this channel as well. The NHL has opened up their Future Goals program, and it's designed for kids. So it's recommended for grades 4 through 7. There's 6 math lessons, 6 science lessons. They're in English and French. So if you're in the province of Quebec and you're looking to teach your kids in French, they have it in French as well. If you're outside the province of Quebec and you think, you know what, we speak French here too. What are you talking about, Shannon? That's fine. Or if you just don't like your kids and you're like, you better figure out your French, and you want them to learn 3 things at once, English or math, science, and French, this is the one for you. I couldn't understand what they said. Yeah, whatever. Come on, get through it. Of course, French and math, you could still kind of get around it, but science might be a little more difficult. So it's curriculum for middle school and elementary school kids. It's an interactive hockey-themed STEM curriculum. Futuregoals.nhl.com is where you go for this. I will include a link in the description below this video because there's a lot of kids out of school right now. And there are a lot of online education options available to parents right now. I'm also going to go ahead and say this. There are going to be parents who can't wait to kick their kids out of the house when everything gets back to some kind of a normal. We're like, get to school. We want it to be 7 days a week. If I see you again before Christmas, I'm not going to be happy. But there will also be parents who say, you know what? We have better control. We know what our kids are learning. They seem to be doing better at home than they were doing in the public school system. I think homeschooling numbers are going to go up. And I think not just that, but I think online learning is going to go up, where we see a lot more parents and schools potentially doing this too. This could be a big money saver for schools. If you go, hey, we could employ less teachers, maybe have less kids on the school grounds at certain times during the day because we have the online learning first or at the end of the day, however you do it. Be interesting to see if the education system changes coming out of this. I really do think globally we're going to see changes in the way that just everything happens. I think we're going to measure as a society before this shutdown and after this shutdown. And while I talk about it from an NHL perspective, it is global. Everything. Mark Scheifele. Mark Scheifele says what we're all thinking. Days are blurring together. I have no idea what day it is when I wake up. None. There's no difference between any day of the week now. It's just gone. Even in terms of what's on TV. Well, there's no sports, so that differentiation's gone. And, there's still wrestling, but for now, and then it's going to go away, or they're just going to do clip shows, so that is gone as well. And a lot of shows, it's just going to be reruns and stuff of that nature. So for Scheifele, he's going through what we all are. Days are blurring into one. And he's kind of getting sort of restless. So again, this isn't a sign of being insensitive to everything going on, but it's kind of like, okay, for these athletes, they've spent their whole lives getting ready to be pros. And even during the off season, they're going through the process of figuring things out. And now they're kind of sitting. And they've probably been sitting at home far longer than they have ever. Because, again, to get to the NHL, you have to be going through the process of going through Pee Wee, Bantam, and all of that. Or now it's just age groups. They don't call it Pee Wee and Bantam anymore. But your life is about getting ready for this whole journey. And now the journey's kind of ground to a halt. And we don't have a date. So Scheifele's just saying, kind of getting restless, wants to get out on the ice, wants to play. And that's the thing. Athletes want to be athletes. And they enjoy being at home, like I've said in recent videos. I could see some of the older players saying, all right, well, I'll retire now because I want to be around when my kids are growing up. And, that's important. But we'll see. Now, on the Vancouver front, it's official. The Canucks and Nikita Tramkin are trying to work out some kind of an arrangement where he can come back. I was a huge supporter of Tramkin. I couldn't understand why they got Goodbranson because they had Tramkin when they picked him up. I was like, we don't need another big physical guy. We've got Tramkin. But Tramkin, the scouting on him over the last couple of years has been that he kind of took a step backwards. And so his upside isn't seen as being quite as high as it was when he left. I'm still a huge supporter of his. I would love to see him back in Vancouver. I'm pretty sure he was in the Canucks lineup. I've seen him as a Canuck once live. I think it's once. May not be. I think once. But anyways, Tramkin, talks are underway between him and the Canucks. We want to see it happen. The good news is that if his ceiling is seen as lower, his price in order to return to the Canucks might be lower as well. So, again, we'll see. The Chicago Blackhawks have extended Matthew Highmore and Kevin Lankinen. Now, Lankinen is an interesting one in that before the season started, coming off of last year's Worlds, he looks like a pretty good goaltender. He does. So it is possible that since he's getting $800,000 next year, and I think it's a 2-year extension he got, it's possible he ends up being the backup. That they go with Crawford and Lankinen. That's possible. I'm just saying, right now, anything's possible, right? Yeah, Gretzky's going to play the next game. You guys can't prove me wrong until probably July or August at the earliest. So, Highmore and Lankinen, we'll see how much of a role they play with Chicago in upcoming seasons. I like Highmore. I like his work ethic. I think the offense is going to show up at some point. It's a matter of when. So there are a lot of teams that are laying people off, and we get that, and you're going to have a reduction of staff throughout this. Depending on which country you're in, governments have different programs where they're trying to help bail people out. We're definitely in a state right now where we're worried about how you pay for everything later. No, I'm not talking about us, the rate. I'm talking about from a government perspective. Worry about how you pay for everything later. You've got to bail people out because otherwise, we don't come out of this. That even when something fixes all of that out there, if you let people end up homeless and if you end up with an economy that's completely destroyed, you have to find a way to do it. And I'm not sure what that is. I'm glad it's not my call on that. But Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, their leaders are taking some pay cuts. So there are some CEOs that are saying we better take a bit of a pay cut. And it's a good gesture. It's a goodwill gesture. Obviously, everybody has bills. Everybody has stuff they have to get paid. I do appreciate when those that have the most say, you know what, we're going to have to give back here because everybody's in trouble. And that's where we're at right now. Everybody's in kind of a dilemma. But we will get through it. I want to say, too, that I'm really impressed by some of what I see on YouTube, where there are some YouTubers that are trying to find the positives and trying to report on positive things going on. In not technically seen as a YouTuber, but sure, in this day and age, he's at home too. John Krasinski, who was Jim on The Office, with his Some Good News that he started, where let's report on some good news stuff that's going on. Might be difficult to see at times, but it's still there. So I applaud that. I have for years said that the media gets so bogged down in everything that's negative and horrible and terrible that good stuff that goes on doesn't get any attention. So I believe in trying to promote good feelings and good just a good mental state right now. Because if you're stressed and you're focused on everything really awful going on right now, it is quite possible that will lower your immune system. And right now, we need that immune system to be as strong as possible. So I do the jogging on the treadmill, and I try to stay positive. And I discovered the band Ninja Sex Party last night, which I didn't know who they were. I hadn't, but they're recommend the song. I don't know what you're talking about was recommended to me. A new video of theirs, and I watched it like 4 times. It's one of the funniest videos I've ever seen in my life. And then I had to watch all their other stuff, and I'm like, how did I not know who these guys are? So I'm kind of mad at the internet for not recommending that band to me sooner, because it's like if Weird Al Yankovic, REO Speedwagon, and Chicago, and then just some of the more core stuff in their music as well. I don't know. AC/DC, I guess that all of AC/DC songs are about one thing. Just finding that all in one group, I was like, you know what, this is great. This is why the internet's fantastic, because now I have a new band to listen to, and something new to focus on. Yeah, so just find the positives, and we will get through this as a community here on the channel. That's important to me, and just the community at large is important as well. So keeping everything in perspective, keeping a level head as much as we can, and everybody out there watching, hope you're healthy and you're safe, and that everybody in your life is as well. Because I'm selfish that way. I don't want anybody to get sick. Thank you guys so much for all your support through everything. It means a lot. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Another sign of the apocalypse, maybe the fact it's snowing here. How is it snowing in April? That's just ridiculous. Anyways, that being said, thank you guys so much for all of your support, and I will talk to you again soon.